Year in Fashion 2010 proved the industry's dexterity in handling everything from natural disasters to financial challenges. Not willing to play it safe, designers pushed their creativity, providing the year with many newsworthy moments. Vogue's Anna Wintour launched Fashion's Night Out, a shopping initiative to kickstart the sluggish economy.
It's a global fashion stimulus package, if you like.
Former Secretary of State Madeleine Albright let her pins do the talking.
Bad day was when I wore spiders or bees or some kind of bug.
In New York, supermodel Naomi Campbell organized Fashion for Relief, a star-studded runway benefit for Haiti. Burberry made its catwalk debut on home turf during the 25th anniversary of London Fashion Week.
It's just so wonderful to be able to celebrate like 2 minutes from our global headquarters.
In Milan, both the Jil Sander and Dolce Gabbana collections captured the headlines. The CFDA Awards honored the best in American fashion.
To be able to celebrate creativity is really an honor.
The year also saw the fashion community shocked by the passing of Alexander McQueen.
He's a genius, and I think that him not being here this season, physically you feel it.
An exhibition in Paris of the late Yves Saint Laurent paid homage to the designer's extensive career. Also, newcomer Abby Lee Kershaw became the model of the moment.
Hi, I'm Abby Lee.
And much more. Macy's Queen Center was the launch site for Fashion's Night Out, an initiative founded by Vogue's Anna Wintour to help stimulate the lagging economy. The project was taking place throughout the city and 5 boroughs. A-list entertainment, as well as the mayor of New York and Hollywood's Kate Hudson, were on hand for the kickoff.
It's a global fashion stimulus package, if you like. Really what we want is for everyone to, get back into the stores, to enjoy the experience of shopping, enjoy the experience of fashion.
She autographed my September issue of Vogue, so that's really exciting.
You're getting fun tonight, and you're supporting fashion, plus on top of it, buy a t-shirt and give back.
40% of the proceeds from the Fashion's Night Out t-shirt went to the National September 11th Memorial and Museum.
Diane and Anna and Michael Kors actually signed for us, so it was cool. And it's in Queens, out of all places.
Tonight there's something like 800 stores throughout the city in all 5 boroughs that are staying open, and you get a chance to shop
all over New York. Tonight, celebrities and designers and politicians and models, all the editors are going to be out in different places doing wonderfully amusing things like singing, signing t-shirts, doing caricatures.
We're just book signing, actually doing portraits, Ruben is, which is quite exciting.
This whole store has been electrified by young people, and all of them seem to want pictures of me for their Facebook page. And I've told them, no shopping bag, no picture.
At DKNY, Donna Karen invited top model Coco Rocha to dance the night away with her customers.
So here at Victoria's Secret, people can come in and get the little makeovers done. Adriana and I will be here giving signatures. We've got all of the t-shirts that we've each designed on display. And so these t-shirts will be auctioned off on eBay. I bid for my shirt and it goes to a great charity.
We're at Burger Goodman and the store is basically party central.
We've got Victoria Beckham coming in the door. It has been, needless to say, very overwhelming and exciting. I mean, that this many people turn out for fashion.
It's what the fashion industry needs, and it's what the economy needs right now, so it's a brilliant idea.
And I'm so happy because everywhere, every floor is full of people, and they're so excited. It's a very good night.
At Calvin Klein, the face of CK, Jamie Burke and his band could be found rocking the shoppers.
They asked us to come down and play in their store, like do do you know, a few songs like of the new record. We got the whole place dancing, so I guess that's a good thing.
It's so nice to see everybody out and about, and I mean, the streets are packed. I had to walk down here because you couldn't get through anywhere.
So this is the choice of today, dancing and clothes.
I think it's a really exciting night. I mean, a lot of people are really coming in. It's attracting a lot of viewers and audience definitely coming into the store.
Fans gathered at Billionaire Boys Club, where multi-talented Pharrell Williams was reportedly going to man his store's cash register.
Listen, they said that to me, but I don't, you know, I got fired at McDonald's 3 times, and I never made it past the grill. So that wasn't going to work out.
Fashion night out is a great idea. It's great for the economy. It's great for women. And I think Diane does it so well in terms of, you know, making clothes affordable, making them sexy, and making them classy. And girls can have fun and spend money. And it's a great way to drive, you know, people into the stores. And that's what we need right now.
It's a celebration, and at the same time, it will stimulate business.
People are out and about having a good time, shopping, drinking, dancing. It's wonderful. That's what New York City is about.
Hopefully it will have a wonderful boomerang effect for the weeks to come.
The Museum of Arts and Design in New York held the first ever exhibition celebrating former Secretary of State Madeleine Albright's personal brooch collection entitled Read My Pins, coinciding with the launch of her book.
I must say, the pins look fabulous all here instead of in my plastic bags at home.
Albright's discovery of the soft power of pins had a notorious beginning.
What happened was Saddam Hussein had called me a serpent when I was ambassador at the United Nations, and I had a snake pin, so I thought it'd be kind of fun to wear it. I then decided that I would go out. I bought a lot of costume jewelry, and when people were asking me what we were going to do on a particular day, I said, read my pins. And it was after the first President Bush had said, read my lips. A great day was when I wore a sun, or flowers, or balloons. I love butterflies, and so they would signal a great day. Bad day was when I wore spiders or bees or some kind of bug.
We think there's a wonderful many levels of stories embedded in these pins that she wore in so many different diplomatic situations. Then there are specific brooches that contain, for example, a piece of the Berlin Wall or the breaking of the glass ceiling that are, you know, quite obvious symbols of various moments in time.
The power of it is that it sends messages and is an icebreaker in many ways, because people want to know why I'm wearing a certain pin, and it opens up the conversation. I have to say, it's kind of put a little humor into some very serious work. There are pins that I think have a different kind of significance, and the one that I close the book with is what I call my Katrina pin. One that is really significant to me is one that my youngest daughter, Katie, gave to me. And when people say, where'd you get it? I say, my daughter made it for me. And they say, well, how old is she? And as she has gotten up into age, I say 35 or 40. And she says, Mom, you got to tell him I made it when I was 5. I was giving a speech somewhere, actually in Las Vegas, and the organizer of the speech said, so what pin are you wearing tonight? And I said, I'm actually not. I'm going to wear a necklace. And she said, that's impossible. It's part of the package. You have to wear a pin. So I went down. I had to buy a pin. So I'm expected to wear one. And then it's expected to have a story.
You know, it is such a good cause, and I think what's incredible is that American Express sold $150,000 worth of tickets tonight, and then on top of that, Net-a-Porter is going to be selling all of these dresses starting March 15th online, and I just think that Naomi Campbell, to be able to pull off something this grand and this fabulous in such a short period of time is pretty spectacular.
It's so weird to call it a cause when it's in the news and it's in the headlines every day. It's reality, you know, it's crazy. So I'm so glad that we're keeping it in the public eye, because out of sight, out of mind, and we don't want that to happen because they need so much more help over there. I know they're auctioning off the clothes and they want to have a really nice show to show the clothes, and you know, it's for a really amazing cause, all those people. It's like very tragic.
Agnes went down twice in her Burberry platforms, but she just laughed. I mean, I think it was sort of funny, and it kind of gave a slightly sort of light-hearted mood.
It's just like, you know, happens. You just pick yourself up and you carry on, you know.
I thought it was spectacular. In fact, I was so lucky because I went backstage right before and I ran into Rachel Zoe, whose sister, Pamela, told me that a week ago she was at her son's bar mitzvah, and they called her to ask her if she would do it, and she had about 50 looks, and half of the celebrities couldn't even come until today, so she was styling them backstage.
We are very happy to be a part of this show, and this is for a helpful event, and actually we are, you know, tell it.
You know, it's bigger than just a regular fashion show and being a part of Bryant Park, Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week. You know, we're actually, it's for a cause, you know, and we're able to raise money and to spread awareness and to let everyone know to help and donate, because this is the world that we live in. We have to give back.
It was fantastic. It was exciting and, you know, a little bit nerve-wracking. But wow, it was really, it felt like a blessing to be asked to be part of this. So I'm happy we could make a difference.
They had the celebrities, they had pop singers, they had the designers themselves, they had Naomi, the Duchess of York. They had Daphne Guinness, was McQueen's muse and one of his very closest friends. And that silver crystal catsuit she was wearing, the Queen only finished it for her 2 weeks ago. And it was like a belated birthday gift from him to her. So it's probably the very last thing he ever made. So it's kind of fashion history. It also turned into a tribute to Lee McQueen. And to see, you know, again, those 6 of those fabulous, fabulous outfits from his last collection.
But what was really moving, I thought, was the Alexander McQueen tribute at the end, which just, I mean, it was so sad. I thought Daphne Guinness was going to just break down because it just really was upsetting.
At New York City's Lincoln Center, the convergence of designers, models, and movie stars could only mean one thing: the 2010 CFDA Awards were taking place. The event is also popularly thought of as the American fashion industry's Oscar night.
This is our Academy Awards. It's the Oscars of fashion. Nothing can compare, you know.
And everyone had an award-winning date.
I'm happy to be with Gwyneth and just have a great time.
Very well tonight because we're with Lara here. Lara is the new face of Calvin Klein, as you know.
I came with Hayden Christensen, who couldn't be a better person to dress and be a muse for the line.
I'm with Alexis Vitar. He's my date, and he's up for an award, and we're cheering him on.
Her cheers must have worked. Alexis Vitar won the award for Accessory Designer of the Year.
I've been, in business for 15 years at least. So after 15 years, you feel like you're recognized. It's a great feeling.
This stylishly influential model and entrepreneur, Iman, received the Fashion Icon Award, which gave her license to tease her rock legend husband, David Bowie.
I said in my speech tonight that I have finally the right to say to him, move over, you're not the only icon in the house. So there you are, we have 2 icons in this house.
The king of American classics, Michael Kors, was the recipient of the Jeffrey Bean Lifetime Achievement Award for nearly 3 decades of timeless designs.
The simple truth is, it is amazing when I think about it. Starting at 21, I really had no clue that 3 decades would fly this quick.
Michael's classic American style, you know, it's beautiful, beautifully constructed, easy to wear, elegant, never overdone.
It is with honor and great regret that I speak briefly tonight of the career and artistic achievement of the late, great Alexander McQueen.
The late Alexander McQueen was honored with a Board of Directors Special Tribute Award, and a live staging of his final collection underscored the fashion world's irreplaceable loss.
Godspeed, Lee. It has been a privilege for all of us to know your work and you. You will be indescribably missed.
Continuing their support of emerging talent, the Swarovski Award went to Richard Chai for menswear. Alexander Wang was given the accessory nod, and the winner for women's wear was Jason Wu.
She's very pretty. I'm going to dress her later tonight.
Donna Karan was on hand to celebrate her former employee, Christopher Bailey, with the International Award for his exceptional work at the British House of Burberry.
I started my career here in New York, 12, 15 years ago, and I just could never have imagined these years later walking down this carpet thinking that I'm going to go home with an award, so kind of mind-blowing.
So he came and he worked for the design room, and I never wanted him to leave.
And the menswear designer of the year is Marcus Wainwright and David Novell for Rag & Bones.
And I thought he said Michael Bastion, to be honest, because I had ma.
Yeah, you hope. You're like, come on, say the words. Rag, Marcus, David, anything. Start with that and we're good.
The stunning Jessica Biel bestowed the always humble Marc Jacobs with the statuette for Women's Wear Designer of the Year.
I thought that if this was to be our lucky night, after I think it's 4 years of being nominated for this award, that I'd give it a bit of a different spin. So I'll use this opportunity to publicly thank all the people involved for making our company what it is.
It's important for America to celebrate the glamour of fashion.
At a time when things are so difficult, to be able to celebrate creativity is really an honor.
The celebration of 25 years of London Fashion Week and the British Fashion Council gave the industry a chance to pinpoint what it is that sets this city apart from other fashion capitals.
This really is the only place in the world where you can kind of see fashion actually being born.
I feel that because this is a city that loves the eccentricity of fashion, the designers here have always had the opportunity to be noticed.
In London, I think there's a very interesting class mix, really, and I think there's quite a little bit of grit that causes the pearl.
There's still a sense sometimes that London is kind of a slightly a shoestring operation compared with the money that's floating around the other capitals.
Is that we don't have the huge budgets, we don't have the huge houses, but we still put on a great show.
Sometimes not having the possibilities that you maybe have in a major city like Milan or New York or Paris, it's the rawness and the energy that makes it special.
You don't have to worry too much at the beginning of your career about being commercial. It's having a commercial edge, which is what I think is really interesting.
There's a real camaraderie between designers, especially amongst my generation, and you know, the talent here is incredible. I think London's always been known for its talent, its creativity, but now it has a real polish, and I can really, you know, on an international level.
It's not like France, where fashion is sort of revered and treated as a bona fide cultural form. You know, here they have to struggle a lot more to be accepted, and it is a country of eccentrics, I think, as you can see when you walk around.
What all of us love about coming to London is the charm and the youth and the energy and the creativity, and maybe things are a little bit less commercial, say, than Milan or even New York.
To me, it's even better than it was 10 years ago when we had Britpop and Brit Art and all that sort of thing, because these designers are selling in department stores and boutiques around the world.
London was always problematic in the fact that
designers, especially young designers, they were never able to actually, for the most part, get it manufactured and get it delivered to you. So I think, you know, we're seeing that that is now changing.
I think it's quite interesting. I think there's a lot going on in London right now. You know, that's why I come to do my own show here. And I think it's got maybe just a little bit more business-minded, but that's not a bad thing. So I don't think it's just a city for, you know, crazy designers like me.
What London's good at is it has so many great art schools, the best art schools in the world, and I think it shows because there's always a new energy every season, there's always new talent emerging, and I think that's really quite encouraging.
It's just got such an amazing feeling about it, London. It's just, you know, the excitement is so rife.
But really, I think that there is just an inborn iconoclasm in the British. Most people think we're very correct and uptight and do everything the way we should do it. It isn't true at all. We're revolutionaries, really.
25 years ago, it was, you know, a bin liner and some safety pins, and it's come a long way.
There is such a magnificent energy in this city. There is all the will in the world to make London kind of the biggest fashion capital in the world, and I think it's wonderful to be able to celebrate with everybody.
Making their runway debut on home soil as the star-studded centerpiece of London Fashion Week, the venerable house of Burberry made its case.
It stands for English or Britishness. I mean, it's how we would like to see ourselves. It's an idealized version of British style. That's how we'd all really, in our dreams, like to look.
We're doing like colours of the trench, butterscotch and fudge colours. We're maybe doing that over the eye, and then we're kind of blending it so it's kind of quite sumptuous and sexual, but really in a nothing way, which makes it quite modern.
You grow up with it, don't you? Do you know what I mean? Your parents, and you know, it's like British heritage, isn't it? Really. So, yeah, it's like in our blood.
I think it's just such an iconic kind of symbol of, you know, British kind of fashion. I love it.
It's just so wonderful to be able to celebrate like 2 minutes from our global headquarters. I wanted it to be a pure expression of the Burberry brand. So I wanted to start with the classic trench coat, but I just wanted to twist it a little bit. And I did that literally and also kind of philosophically. I wanted to twist the brand to kind of take it a little bit sexier and just kind of move it on as well.
It was wonderful to see him go right back to what Burberry's all about, which is the trench. It's very British, obviously.
I like this idea of taking kind of the traditional epaulette and then starting to twist it, and you know, it was kind of a whole play on kind of knotting, twisting and turning. I really wanted the small bag. I just feel it's really a time, you know, we've had those massive bags, and I wanted it to be this small sling. So I played with the Burberry check, and you know, again, I twisted it, I wove into it. And then the shoes, again, I wanted them knotted and twisted, but I wanted them really grounded. So, you know, they were very high, but they have a big platform, so she kind of stomps a little bit.
Oh my God, that was like 250 ways with a trench, wasn't it? I mean, all those little evening trench cocktail dresses with the chiffon ruching and the beautiful colours, the aqua and the... and that lemon, I just thought it was beautiful.
No, it's beautiful. It's really kind of like subtle kind of twist, like a really beautiful jacket, and then in the back there's this kind of like incredible knots in the fabric. It's just really beautiful, really lovely.
This is actually Dev's favorite brand, and I said I'm going to come in and support him, and guess what? They just actually blew my mind. I love their dresses, and I'm so happy that I get to wear one of my favorite colors. So I love Burberry.
Second that. I've worn it throughout the Slumdog press, and it's just an amazing brand. Fits really cool, and it's British.
I thought it was incredible, really amazing, really amazing.
I thought it was great. I really liked the colour. I loved the short. I thought the accessories were great. The girls looked beautiful, so it's great to be here.
Well, I
think what Angela and Christopher have done so brilliantly is they've taken a house that's traditionally incredibly traditional and given it a whole new sense of fashion edge. So they've made it both accessible and wearable and desirable and fashionable all at the same time, which is not exactly an easy feat.
I really want to thank every single person because I know, budgets are tight. I know it's not an easy city to get to, and I completely understand that it's not always easy and not always cost effective. So I cannot tell everybody enough how grateful I am.
The Dolce & Gabbana show was perfection. I am not someone who goes over the top with enthusiasm normally, and I had chills. I almost cried. The video was so beautiful about the craftsmanship and the people that work with them.
I was moved. It's one of those fashion moments. The French call it a frisson. It was perfectly beautiful, touching, the music, the workmanship backstage. That's when fashion's fabulous.
It was like everything they've ever done, but better than they've ever done it. It was exquisite. I was so happy to be there.
I loved it. They really returned to their DNA, the kind of core DNA of the brand. They gave you the perfect suit.
It was a real commitment to their craft, and also I really appreciated the shout out to the petites mains who really make it all happen. And the craftsmanship in the work in the jackets was amazing. Exquisite and nice new touch on the bustier that we were seeing, but this time with a more cotton and a breathable fabric for the bra section. I just thought it was a great show, back again to heritage, and I was very impressed with that collection.
We have a touch of leopard, we have a touch of lace, a touch of satin, ultimately always very feminine, but then a little bit of the masculinity. I mean, they really look back, I think, to the heritage that they built the house on, and it was in a very quiet way gave that to us again.
I absolutely adored it. I got all teary, and I just thought they totally have found her again. It's like she was lost and now she's found. I loved it. I loved the precision of it. I loved the way that a lot of the men's tailoring elements were really quite strong, but still retained the femininity of it. I just thought it was really brilliant.
I don't think that designers necessarily go, I want to do something which is, my goal is to be commercial. We all know it's one of the reasons we're here, but you also have to first start with a kind of design integrity, and there's been we haven't really seen the suit or the jacket looking so good again. Everything's feeling kind of subdued. It doesn't feel like a season where a lot of flash is feeling right. There's kind of a kind of maturity going on right now, and I think that's what we felt today.
They were true to their core. The tailoring was spectacular. Every blazer, every skirt, it was down to a T, professional. I'm so happy for them. They haven't had a show like that in a long time. It's absolutely beautiful.
Meet the modeling world's wonder from down under.
Hi, I'm Abby Lee. I was scouted on the beach back in Australia when I was like 16. I'm 22 now, so it was a while ago. I was very naive at that age. I didn't really understand it, and I'm still learning. You learn a lot about yourself. You spend a lot of time alone, traveling alone, learning to adapt to different situations and different cultures really quickly. Us girls are a lot younger than the stylists, the fashion editors, everybody that we work with, they're adults, so I guess your maturity levels tend to strengthen really quickly. My family, just like I was when I was 16, are so far removed from the whole thing, like the whole industry. They've come overseas and travelled with me, and then they got a taste of it and they understand it more. But they've always been, always had the attitude of as long as I'm happy, they're happy. So at the moment I'm happy, so they're stoked with what I'm doing and they're very supportive.
Even a seasoned runway pro like Abby Lee gets pre-show jitters.
Oh, definitely. I mean, you're walking out in front of like hundreds of people that are all looking at you, and the only light is a spotlight right at your face, you know. Like, there's always going to be that nervous energy, which is good, I think. It pumps the adrenaline, gets it going. It means that you're excited and you actually care about the show. If you weren't nervous, I guess it wouldn't mean much to you, and why are you doing it if it doesn't mean much to you? So I quite enjoy the nerves that come with it. I write and draw. I'd like to say that I paint, but unfortunately I don't have the time or the space to do that. But hopefully one day when I get a bigger place and the modelling quietens down a little bit, I'll do more of that. I didn't model full-time until I was about 19. I sort of didn't take it seriously. I didn't understand the great things that it can bring you. So at the moment I'm just looking to see what else modelling can bring for me. You know, like you come across so many incredible people and the opportunities, and I'm sure that other doors are going to open for me. I don't know what they are yet, but I'm willing to just see what modelling can do for me rather than have a plan B.
Abby Lee's had her share of catwalk slip-ups, but she remains fearless.
Each show, each shoe is a different challenge. These ones are quite high and heavy, but at the same time they make you feel sexy and strong. So you know, and there's a lot of support. They're really supportive on your ankles and your feet and stuff. So they'll be fine. It's a long runway though, so we'll see.
With Milan's Castello Sforzesco prominent in the background, preparations were underway backstage at Jil Sander.
The typical Jil Sander woman, it's very pure. It's not much makeup actually, it's just a skin tone foundation, some transparent powder and a touch of beige on the lips.
We used the reference of a film called Zabriskie Point. There's a scene in the film where a man and a woman kind of basically have sex in the desert, and her hair gets all the sand in it and clumpy and matted and, you know, sort of deconstructed hair. That's kind of tied in with the clothes because just undone and free, more free.
It almost felt like decayed couture, deconstructed couture, not decayed, that's the wrong word, but deconstructed couture. So there was all those really beautiful classic lines, and then there was like a frayed hem or a torn split. So it had that urbanicity, but still the really beautifulness of the tailoring that I always adore.
Really liked it. I thought it was very thoughtful. I thought he'd managed to do those kind of deconstructed, quite conceptual garments, but in a way that was actually extremely easy to wear. I mean, I don't think any woman's going to look ridiculous in those clothes. I think they're essentially extremely elegant.
I love Jil Sander because I think Raf Simons is such an artist in terms of the way he approaches minimalism, and I think that you're always surprised because it's something that you don't approach with a very artistic eye at times because you think it should be so simple, but his simplicity is so creative. I mean, if you look at the sort of study in deconstruction this season, it really was about stripping everything down to the most elegant and chic clothes. I mean, raw hems, you know, deconstructed jackets, patchworking. I mean, I think it was so incredibly chic, his idea of what minimalism is.
Sort of classic all-in-one runway to reality collection, you know. One can imagine in other designers' hands you'd have a collection that was taking that same idea and it would be conceptual in a more abstract way. This was bit more pragmatic than that.
Jil Sander, that was a really exciting show. Women, they want everything to be very straightforward. They want it to be clear. And so that translated in terms of his clothes, of this mix between canvas, calico, very simple cottons, linens, with transparency, so that you had that sort of feeling of the lightness, and yet it still had a very natural and raw feel.
An exhibition in Paris at the Petit Palais was the most comprehensive look at the late Yves Saint Laurent's couture and pret-a-porter work ever to be shown to the public. It encompassed Saint Laurent's career from his days at Christian Dior in the 1950s until his final haute couture show in 2002.
It's a huge exhibition. There are over 300 objects in it, and I think that it kind of explores his sort of engagements that really in many instances lasted through his career, or certainly through several decades.
The exhibition grouped the collections around various themes. One room highlighted the many pieces inspired by art and artists like Van Gogh, Mondrian, and Matisse. Yves Saint Laurent was also enormously influenced by exotic locations.
You know, it's the kind of things that interested him, like the sort of exoticism of, well, the Maghreb and Morocco in particular, where, of course, he had two houses in Marrakesh and Tangier, and of India and of China and Russia and Spain.
One of Saint Laurent's most loyal clients was Catherine Deneuve, and one section of the exhibit was dedicated to her and features the Belle du Jour costume from the 1967 film. Saint Laurent's studio was also recreated within the Petit Palais, while parts of his workbooks lined the walls of another room to display his brilliant talent and skill with a palette. It's often said that Chanel gave women freedom and Saint Laurent gave them power. He did this by combining elements of the man's wardrobe with elegant sensuality.
I think, you know, that he was a great tailor, that he was a great dressmaker, that he kind of inherited the tradition of great mid-century haute couture, you know, as an apprentice and eventually the designer at Christian Dior, you know. And then he married that to having a real spirit of what was happening in the contemporary world in the 60s and the idea of rebellion and empowering women, and he bridged this extraordinary chasm in a way with the most sort of elegant bridge. And obviously that, you know, he was just an absolutely, you know, a man of protean talent, you know, in so many areas. The work is just, I think, astonishing. You know, there are sort of some magical moments. There's a section of clothes that he designed to be worn to Marilyn de Rothschild's Proustian ball in the early 70s. And that is kind of that's an area that kind of deals with his imagination, and Proust was obviously a writer and a great cultural force that influenced him a lot.
One of Saint Laurent's most recognizable silhouettes came from a 1971 collection that would be damned by the press and criticized for making women look like World War II prostitutes during the German occupation. This haute couture collection would actually go on to be one of his most influential. But it wasn't just his masculine stylings that revolutionized the way contemporary fashionable women dressed.
Even things like, you know, the Russian collection with those amazing dirndl skirts, which totally transformed the way women wanted to look in 76. I think he was an amazing innovator, and it's fantastic that the flame is being so carefully guarded, making sure that new generations are kind of aware of his talent and the enduring influence of of his work.
Yves Saint Laurent died in 2008 of brain cancer, and his ashes were scattered in a garden in his beloved Morocco.
We're just doing real, almost replicants, tonal, beige on beige. We're doing versions of the girls and making them all look kind of like Kirsten McMenemy, bleaching the eyebrows, or everything that we see when I see Kirsten.
With the hair today is very graphic. We go ponytails, very shiny ponytail, and we have an amazing ponytail that is been creamed, so it's like it's a different texture, which has been the ponytail is very shine. Of course, we have an incredible guest, which is Kirsten McMenemy, which is an icon, and I'm going to do a special hairdo on her, different from the other model.
I've been waiting for 20 years for them to ask me to do a show. I think they're one of the most innovative. Their shows are always the most artistic and you know, celebrate fashion and new fashion. You know, something that people haven't seen before, and yeah, I think they're amazing. So, you know what? I'm flattered, of course. You know, I'm so flattered, and I'm flattered that, you know, after all these years that I'm still remembered. I just think, wow, you know, I'm humbled. I'm humbled by it all, but I'm so happy to do the show, and I think the show's going to be amazing.
I got the impression that they wanted to convey a kind of conveyor belt, factory of glamour. Hence we had all that wallpaper with sort of nuts and bolts and spanners and all kinds of industrial things covering the catwalk, covering the walls. And then the idea was to, I think, show the mechanics of dressing. You had that revolving platform with both Victor and Rolf on it, gradually divesting Kirsten McMenemy of one coat, one layer after another, until she was standing there just in a little flesh-tone corset. And meantime, the pieces they'd taken off, they were sort of shaking and unzipping and pulling drawstrings and turning sleeves back inside out. And another model would walk off with it. And then they reversed the process completely with more models coming out, and their coats were taken off them and put on Kirsten until they built up this sort of oversized, layered woman.
Very interesting in the way a strapless evening dress can morph into a cape, sort of play into the whole utilitarian idea that other designers have been thinking about this season in a very fun and amusing and playful way.
Genius. You can look at it from many points of view. It's like we're on this constant treadmill, and the fact that a woman is multi-layered, the fact that autumn-winter is all about coats, the fact that also women, whether you're small or larger, you know, there's something for everyone, and the fact that it was all about a transformation. So a coat was transforming into a dress. Phenomenal. I mean, it blew me away completely.
Victor and Rolf, you know, they're due. They were calm and composed. They never sort of seemed to be fussing or looking, oh God, where's the zip? You know, it just seemed to work like clockwork.
Victor and Rolf worked so hard on rehearsing and putting the clothes as fast as they could and all that. But then there was always a margin, of course, for error. The hardest part was to basically get exactly the timing right, so that they would always have something to do, and there would always be a girl arriving right when they need, and not before and not after.
In February 2010, the fashion community was shocked to hear the tragic news of the death of Alexander McQueen.
It was a great tragedy. I knew Lee, obviously both London boys. We went to the same school. I can't believe that no one had maybe noticed or realized what was going on in the industry.
Just days after the death of his beloved mother, the designer known as Lee was found hanged in his London apartment. His death was later ruled a suicide. Despite the tragic nature of his passing, it's McQueen's legacy that will endure.
The more distance we put between us and his death, the more he'll be appreciated, because I think he was so young that although we all raved about his shows, obviously, because they were such incredible spectacles, I think that sometimes the show stole the show, if you see what I mean. So the show eclipsed the actual clothes. And I think as time goes on, we'll be able to take stock of what he did. He had a really incredible legacy.
I mean, everything Lee did was immense, and so his legacy will be immense. And I think with any genius, you see that in the history of the time, and you see it by looking back.
Alexander McQueen did two things apart from completely revolutionising the way fashion shows were done in the 1990s. He had a very, very romantic side. He could do the most incredible couture dresses, and then on the other hand, very sharp tailoring.
Some of the most memorable shows we ever saw and will probably ever see came from McQueen. The way he thought out the whole production, you know, in a sort of broad sweep, and taking in the clothes as just part of the production, was his major standout contribution to fashion. Huge loss, obviously.
McQueen's final collection was near completion when he passed away, and the decision was made to present it to a select group of fashion editors.
The fact that the pieces of the clothing, were jacquards of digital images of art, was also a way of McQueen saying, the role of the function of art on consciousness. I mean, how much you're affected by it, how you see things because of art, how you feel things because of art. I think those are very strong images for McQueen. They do deal with things, morality, punishment, death, monstrosity. Those are things that have been part of his work over the last 15 years.
Alexander McQueen will be remembered as a master tailor, an historian, a romantic, a futurist, sometimes a misogynist, but always a showman.
He's a genius. Him not being here this season, physically you feel it. I think that you feel there's a place for Lee, and it's sad that it's the understatement that he's not here to fill it.